Some advice, never write with a broken pencil. You know why? There's no point. Now that I've warmed up the audience. This young couple, it was a Sunday afternoon, they wanted to have a quickie. The only problem was their kid was home from school. So they said, Bobby, you go out on the balcony, tell us everything that's happening in the neighborhood, and they quickly go into the bedroom. So the kid's out on the balcony and he says, hey, Mom and Dad, the postman just came. Mom and Dad, Mrs. Goldberg just went into the grocery store. The police are giving Mr. Goldberg a double parking ticket. The sun just went behind a cloud. The Joneses are having sex. That got the parents alerted. They sat up in bed. How do you know that, Johnny? Because their kid's out on the balcony.
That was a good one.
A farmer had 3 lovely daughters. He was very protective and stayed close to them with a shotgun. One Friday night, there's a knock on the door. He takes his shotgun, opens the door. There's a gentleman standing there with a bouquet of flowers. And he says, hello, my name is Eddie. I'm here for Betty. I'm going to go out and take her for spaghetti. Is she ready? Farmer thinks this guy kind of nice. I'm going to let him in. I trust him. A little while later, there's another knock on the door. Fella standing there with a box of candy. He says, hello, my name is Joe. I'm here for Flo. I'm going to take her to a show. Is she ready to go? Farmer says, yeah, come on in. A little while later, there's a third knock on the door. He opens the door with a shotgun. Guy standing there says, hello, my name is Chuck.
Oh.
Now that's getting pretty close to the edge, isn't it? It's in your mind. A lady comes over to her husband and says, honey, the tractor's not working right. It's not working the way it used to be. I think there's water in the carburetor. He says, come on, what do you know about carburetors? You don't even know what a carburetor is. Where's the tractor? In the swimming pool. Guy goes to the doctor. He says, doctor, I need a castration. Doctor says, are you sure? I'm absolutely sure. I need a castration. My girlfriend says I have to have one. Doctor says, okay, it's an irreversible operation, very painful, but they go ahead and do it. Next day, the doctor is visiting, doing his rounds, and he says, I meant to ask you, why did you need a castration so much? She said, well, my girlfriend's Jewish, and I'm going to convert, and she tells me I need a castration. And he says, well, I'm Jewish, and I can tell her the only thing you need to be Jewish is a circumcision. He says, oh, that's the word. Guy walks into a bar. That's the one you told me the other day. Guy walks into a bar. He has a little box with him. And he says to the bartender, if I show you something special, would you give me free drinks for the night? Bartender, sure, if it's really special. So he opens the box and he takes out a little 1-foot-tall man dressed in a tuxedo. He reaches in the box again, he takes out a little piano. The little man goes over to the piano and he plays Chopin's Polonaise perfectly. Everybody in the bar is amazed. Bartender says, sure, you can have free drinks, but tell me, how did you get this? Where did it come from? He says, well, there's a genie outside and he's giving away free wishes. And I think the genie is hard of hearing. And the guy says, why do you think the genie is hard of hearing? And he says, do you think I asked for a 12-inch pianist? An old man brought his family together and he said, I want you to come to my bedroom, my son, my daughter, my wife. I want 2 witnesses and a camcorder because I want to go over my last wishes. I only have a few hours to live. So they all assemble and he says, to you, my wife, I give all my properties along the beach and the boardwalk from 150th Street to 125th Street. And to you, my son, I give all the properties in the commercial district. And to you, my daughter, I give all the properties on Nob Hill between 6th Avenue and 10th Avenue. And that's it, the guy dies. The next day, the nurse says, I'm amazed that your husband was such a prosperous businessman. He must have been very good at what he does. And the wife said, yeah, he had a paper route. Now, I have a couple that I told a long, long time ago when this first started. And there's a lot of new faces here, so I want to repeat a joke or two, all right? A rabbi leaves the synagogue, he's walking across the street, and he gets hit by a truck. And he's laying there on the ground, and his friend comes and he says, Moshe, oh, I'm so sorry. How are you feeling? And the rabbi goes, and he says, Moshe, you've been a rabbi all your life. Why are you making the sign of the cross? And he says, what sign of the cross? I'm just checking my spectacles, my testicles, my wallet, and my pen. Finally, my last joke of the day, there's a huntsman, a duck hunter, and he's shooting ducks, and he shoots a duck, and the duck falls onto this farmer's field. So he climbs over the fence, and he goes to retrieve the duck. The farmer comes up, what are you doing on my property? He says, well, I just shot a duck, it fell, I'm gonna pick him up. He says, you can't have the duck, it's my duck. I said, that's not fair, I shot the duck, it fell on the field. He says, no, it's my duck, it's on my property, it's mine. The guy starts arguing with him. He says, look, let's settle this the old farmer's way. We'll each take a shot at each other, and whoever gives up first wins. And the guy, the hunter, is much bigger. He says, well, I can do that. And the farmer says, I'll go first. So he winds up and he kicks the guy as hard as he can right in the groin. The guy doubles over with pain, he groans and he rolls on the ground and he's crying and he's calling for his mama. And after 15 minutes, he finally is able to recover and he gets up, he says, okay, it's my turn. And the farmer says, I give up, you can have the duck. That's it, folks.